You can have Constitution's normally the second or third, right in that range, but a lot of the times you're going to be able to budget a 14 without much issue on any character that's got medium armor access.
Unless they're planning to use this feat.
Yeah, and why would you?
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're talking about the feat, Heavily Armored.
You've done it. You've equipped the plate mail effectively.
Yay.
You saw the YouTube video. Good job, fighter. That's all this is. Well, not even fighter. It's because you need to have proficiency with medium armor to do this. So you're like, ranger?
I mean,
yeah, this is really short. So it requires proficiency with medium armor. It says you've trained to master the use of heavy armor, which is just a lot. You haven't mastered anything. You increase your strength by a score by 1 to a max of 20. So if you have an odd score to an even, that's pretty good. You just need anything here. Unfortunately, you don't get anything because all it says is you gain proficiency with heavy armor, which sure doesn't constitute anything in any build that exists.
all right, who are we talking about here?
Nobody.
Oh, no,
Zero.
like that it qualifies for.
Okay, so you have to have medium armor proficiency. Clerics
Right.
have medium armor proficiency. That's one. You could be a cleric and get this if you'd like. Now, there are subclasses that give you heavy armor proficiency as a cleric, war and light. So, like, if you wanted to do that, you could already do that. I guess maybe your Tempest domain, they get martial weapon proficiencies, but not heavy armor. So maybe that's a thing where you're like, I got a 17 strength and I want heavy armor and I'm a Tempest domain cleric. Ta-da! At the same time, I'm always like, but you probably have a +2 dex anyway, and I don't think the AC bump is that relevant or worth it, but maybe that's one. Druids also get medium armor proficiency, but Druids have this weird little caveat that isn't technically a rule, but is like a flavor fail thing where they say they only wear things that are not made of metal. So if you were to take Heavy Armor Master, you'd be required to, basically by the definition of what heavy armor is, to put metal on, but again, that's just flavor.
Sorry, just a nitpick. It's heavily armored. Heavy Armor Master is a different one.
Oh, I'm sorry. But it does say in the feat description, you train to master these heavy armor. You'll have to apologize for me mixing up heavily armor master and heavily armored for calling it mastery, because this is a bad feat description and should have not shipped like this. I hate these feats, Bob. I hate them.
Well, we're pounding through them. It'll all be over soon.
So yes, heavily armored. Maybe you're a druid that's ignoring your armor requirements and you have a crap dex. And that's, I guess, Ranger's the last one. Does Rogue also have armor proficiencies?
What about like magic armors or like armors made of special materials, like some kind of like dragon scales or, well, adamantium would be a metal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and dragon scales is scale mail, which is medium armor.
Oh.
Yeah,
or something else like a really hard wood.
I mean, then I guess you'd have a reason to stay within flavor for druid.
That's heavy as shit.
I love concept. You walk into the woods and you find this really heavy magic tree. You'd be like, damn, this is heavy as shit. And the druid's eyes just widen. They go, I have an idea. Sure, I guess. If you're playing a strength 0 dex based ranger, okay. Greatsword ranger, anyone?
Well, we talked before. You talked before about when you're going through clerics. You said clerics probably already have a decent dex. Why? Don't clerics have enough to focus on?
So generally my thought process for that is this. If you are already using medium armor, oftentimes what's happening when you're doing your ability score array is you're deciding, how do I maximize whatever my primary stat is, and then how do I most efficiently max out my character otherwise? That second bit normally means I'm taking a high dex, because dex is a really integral stat for like just playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's for your AC on 2 types of armor. So if you're a cleric, putting a 14 in your dexterity is pretty easy. It also lets you use finesse weapons perfectly effectively, and they're about as good as non-finesse weapons. The difference between a short sword and a long sword is a d6 to a d8 damage. What you really care about is what you're getting on hit and the mod to that, more so than anything else, than that one menial difference. And you're much more incentivized to sink your strength and put a high dex, because then you have, again, that bonus to AC. You have bonus to stealth checks, which are very commonly made. You have bonus dexterity saving throws, which are one of the more common save types, right? So dexterity is already going to be a prioritized stat for something like a cleric, who otherwise just has 16, 17, 18 starting wisdom, and that's the only score they predominantly care about. You can have Constitution's normally the second or third, right in that range, but a lot of the times you're going to be able to budget a 14 without much issue on any character that's got medium armor access.
unless they're planning to use this feat.
Yeah, and why would you? Because that's such a huge investment for what is proficiency with something. Like you,
I mean, I'm just thinking maybe you want to prioritize another ability for whatever reason. You still want a decent AC, but you don't want to sink your dex into it, and you don't care about stealth at all.
there are species that give you heavy armor proficiency. I think dwarves might, if from memory serves. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
there are ways to do it, sure, but
Multi-classing, like
yeah,
it's not hard to get access to heavy armor and your
no,
feet for it.
I'm devil's advocate here.
That's fair. Maybe okay, in this devil's advocate world, maybe we're like, I'm a strength-based, exactly Tempest Domain cleric, and my objective is to look like Thor. And for some reason, I'm allergic to a +2 dexterity. But I want like a high strength, high whiz, and high con. And I have no room for dex on my sheet. So I'm starting with a 10 and just take Heavy Armor Master of 4 and just not get any of the feats that could help me look like Thor.
Listen, I feel like you want to play a paladin.
At that point, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, Tempest Domain has some unique things to it, so I get it.
Yeah.
And that would be the window where you would pick this, I think. Commenters down below, let me know if there are like any existing subclasses that you'd go, I'm really glad a Heavy Armor Master exists because I would put it on this character. And like you have to do that so early because otherwise you're just playing a character whose AC sucks for no other reason than you just didn't take a positive dex modifier, right?
Yeah.
Like this has to be the first feat you get if you want to have an AC above like 12.
I feel obligated to throw this in though. But what about the wizard or sorcerer who's taken lightly armored and then medium armored and now this?
They get a trophy because they committed 3 feats to do this, and that's has to be an achievement because that's so inefficient. But you're still a wizard, so you're probably fine.
Yeah, sure. All right, next question. How effective is this with regard to just straight armor class alone? Well, my question is, are the highest level AC you get from medium armor, from the best medium
17.
armor, to the highest you get from the best heavy armor?
Gotcha. Pulling up the armor table right now. So half plate gives you an AC of 17, which is medium armor, and plate mail gives you an AC of 18. Notably, it does require a strength of 15, so you probably want to make sure you have that. So that does narrow the builds even further, but you get a +1 AC at the net at the end of this if you are taking this instead of the best medium armor with a +2 dex.
All right. I'm having a harder time playing devil's advocate now.
Did anyone come to the defense of medium armor master or mediumly armored or whatever, moderately armored to like, but defense is great?
I don't know that that's aired yet.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe the same people will come here and be like, that +1 AC is totally worth it. And I'm like,
the
not
defense
to me.
people.
Yeah, these are the people that are like, the defense is the best fighting style. And I'm like, I can't be bothered. That is so boring.
No, I mean, like, yeah, for the person that wants the absolute best AC they can have, and they're willing to sacrifice, something like this for just one more bump.
And it's right before
it's. I mean, no, you're not going to sacrifice a feat. You're going to sacrifice something else, like a level.
You're going to sacrifice a level, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's going to come with like action surge and crap. Like it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
It's going to come with defense and heavy armor. Oh, that's +2 AC if you take a 1 level in fighter.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Can I get this one right now? Are we done?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like we covered everything, and I don't see either of us arguing this above a 1.
This doesn't need to exist.
No. All right, 1 it is. If you have other opinions, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. So let us have it. Yeah, that was Heavily Armored, the feat. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.